pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self-expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one-on-one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is the CEO of Masoom, Nikita Ketkar, who plays the role of a passionate guide and mentor for the NGO that has chosen to tread a different path by focusing on the Night Schools of Mumbai. Her story is the story of a young and educated woman who finally found her calling in service. Having worked in different capacities as a journalist, lecturer, and social worker, she cleared the prestigious UPSC exams. After spending over 3 years in various administrative positions in the DRDO, Airforce headquarters, and NCC directorate, Nikita felt the urge to do something beyond and left the services to work for various NGOs. It was while working on the social project she came across Night Schools accidentally. What she saw and heard compelled her to start Masoom in 2008, an organization focused on improving night schools. Currently, Masoom is working with 85 night schools of Mumbai, Pune, Ahmednagar, and Nagpur. Among the various national and state awards, she won the Savitribai Phule Fatima Sheikh Award by Shikshak Bharti for her contribution to night schools. In 2014, Masoom won the prestigious Global Rising Star Award for its exemplary work in the field of education, an international award. This year, January 2021, Nikita has been selected as an Ashoka Fellow. Listen in as she shares her inspiring journey. Hi Nikita, such a pleasure connecting with you and reading about what all you have done. I'm extremely curious to know how Masoom Nikita moved on to become Officer Nikita and has gone back to be part of Masoom. So, how do you keep that Masoomiyat alive? It's such an honor and privilege having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty, Nikita. I would love to know your journey and you just take us back to wherever you remember and we walk along listening to you.
Thank you so much, Rashmi, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak and not just speak about Masoom, but you're taking me back to my childhood, which is very rare occasions I've got an opportunity to actually go back into the past to see what have been those small connects which have taken me to where I am today. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I was in Solapur all throughout my childhood, as in I completed my 10th standard from there. And the biggest influencing factor in my life while I was a child was my grandmother. And she was a very spiritual person. And at 3 or 4 years, I had already learned a lot of shlokas. And she had taught me a lot about Gita and all that. I mean, not that I understood everything because it's too heavy, but then the shlokas was just the by heart, and I knew them. And she used to take me to the temples where the bhajans used to happen, and I don't know, and I just would follow her. I would be sitting there. She would go and take tuition somewhere else and hand over me to some other grandmothers, and I would be just sitting there in the bhajans, being very happy, serene, wait for her to come back and take me away. So that, I think, When I was in the eighth standard, I started actually doing a lot of puja and going to temples and looking more inwards. And about 2 hours I would spend doing all this at that point of time. And somehow started taking responsibility for the house as well in terms of doing small chores, taking because my mom was doing a lot of things and so that and so that kind of made me very very strong. And I think when I look back, that's where I started drawing more and more strength from within. And I got the opportunity to look inward and pick up that strength from there. uh, Going ahead, I continued until date. If you ask me, I spend a lot of time on spiritual pursuits where I get a chance to meditate, look inside, and look inwards more than outwards. And so I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of, but if you ask me, I'm my own friend and I look for strength within, and I'm very happy with that. Uh, uh, Situation. So that's what was the influencing factor. And I think I took responsibility even throughout from the seventh grade till the 10th standard. I would get the good discipline award, from the school, because I would ensure that I'm going to be on time. And my granny was such that she put in a lot of things like going to places with punctuality and this and that discipline. So that had come in, and I would be sitting in the first bench and all of that. I had seen my father. He is a doctor, and would spend about 18 hours. And not just doctor, he has also been elected, small corporation, but because of his selfless service, he would put in 18 hours and give free medicine. And we were not financially not good at all because they're very low income. You can say from that strata, but we were very happy in terms of, my father was happy doing what he was, 18 hours, nothing would like, no major this that we had in terms of materialistic this. But yeah, I could see that there was so much of popularity because of the kind of connects that he had had with the people and the kind of giving. People, his patients would come at 3 in the night from different villages around our place, Solapur, and he would still get up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and it used to be an endless. And I'd seen that, and somewhere he wanted me to do UPSC and wanted to give back to the society by becoming an IS officer. And so he had planted that seed in me at that point of time, and I was in the 9th standard. And I said, okay, let me see. I don't know whether I'll be able to do it or not. But then that happened, and somewhere that was there. My mom was absolutely a housewife, but very innocent and always like, never never taught us the life lessons as such, in the sense that, how do you deal with people and stuff. So it was like, chalo, you will handle, and, things like that. So that's how I was brought up. And I carried this with me when I came to Bombay in the 11th grade to do my college, and to my granny's place. My granny was no longer there at that time, but I came to stay at my uncle was there. And from there, I joined NSS, and I carried those things with me. Ki, chalo, I have to give back in some way or the other. And wherever I would see things like an accident case or something, I would be the first one to pick up not just animals but also human beings, and be on the forefront. And that's how it came in. And then by the 3rd year of my college, I had made up my mind that I will write the UPSC exam. And so I decided to write the exam and got into it. uh, 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 Not immediately, I had to work hard for it, but I got into a service which is a middle service, like a armed forces headquarters civil service. I didn't get into IS because my marks were not so good.
Okay, but Nikita, in your journey, your dad told you to become an IAS officer, UPSC officer, and that's how UPSC was even part of your plan. But did you meet someone to believe that, yes, if I get into UPSC and get into any of those services, I will be of better use to society? Did you watch somebody, see somebody? How did it reaffirm to you that, yes, UPSC is the path? Because it's a lot of hard work. And if by ninth the seed was already planted, was it just that, okay, if I become a civil service officer, I can be of bigger use to society? Was that the
No,
motivation?
so when I was in Solapur, I'd seen the collector. I used to,
Ah, okay.
because he had already planted, so 9, 10th I knew, and then even while I was in college and I would go back to Solapur, I would, I had seen those people work. And they were, I don't know, at that point of time, very, very active. So I used to be, I got very influenced, and also the people connect, I think I saw. Not that. I don't remember having been inspired by anybody, any particular person, any particular bureaucrat, but just that you get a chance, there is an opportunity to bring in so much change. And yes, I have seen a general collector's role and a senior bureaucrat ministry or whatever, and there is a potential to bring in if you want to. And with that, it was that okay. And then of course when I joined the academy, when it became serious, there were a lot of people who were brought in to share about their experience. And then of course then it strengthened, because wow, this is the kind of work people are doing, and why not, in spite of whatever difficulties, challenges, let me just keep trying and keep trying, and kept on. And unfortunately, the service that I was in was not really people connect. There was very little connection with the people. There was more connection with files. I did work, and because I had put in a lot of efforts and my father's dream and all of that, I did spend some amount of time, which is about 4, 5 years. But then I was not really happy with it. I was not happy because that thing was there that I want to be connected. I want to bring about that change. And here I am. I'm working efficiently. I'm not very excited when I go to work. That was the feeling. I got my deputation in Mumbai, and I was still working when I came across Night Schools in 2001, because by that time, I had started volunteering for some organizations, and I had made up my mind to explore more on the, people front, social sector, understanding what's happening and stuff. And when I came across these schools accidentally, I realized that these students who come to study in night schools are mostly working students. They're working as courier boys, canteen boys, girls as domestic help. They are in the manufacturing units, and in spite of being there, they find time to come to study every day. They come to the night schools with a smiling face in the evening. And I was shocked. At that point of time, when I went to a night school, they were teaching, so they were actually performing science practicals on the blackboard. They were teaching them chemical reaction. And I said, how in the world? And they were 10th grade students. I said, how in the world are they going to and they have to give the practical exam. So they've not seen a chemical, and they're going to talk about chemical reaction, and they're going to explain the chemical reaction to an exam. And I felt very bad for the students, because I was interacting with the students and I realized they're coming from different places. They've worked and they have shown that interest. They're self-motivated. And I was thinking that would I do that, because I'm already earning. If I was earning, why would I want to go to a school? I would privately sit for an exam and pass the exam. Why will I come every day to a school which is like a proper school, discipline, this, that? I said I would do that, and these students are doing that. So I mean, there's so much self-motivation. There's so much of the whole entire thing. I have to do something better with my own life, not because my parents have sent me. I want to better my life. And here we are not giving them resources at all. And so I spoke to a couple of headmasters. I spoke to some other stakeholders like trustees and all, and I realized that these schools are very, very old. They were started in 1850s by Jyotiba Phule in Pune to take care of adult education. And then they kind of proliferated in Mumbai because there was a lot of migration happening from different places, from Karnataka, from Gujarat and so many places, because Bombay is a place of opportunity. And then that's how, to take care of the education of these people who are migrating and their children, these schools were set up. So they have a history of 150 years old. And this is unique to Maharashtra. And I realized that there's so much there and they're still relevant, because there are students, especially in the secondary school, on 15, 16 years, who have to work. They have to work, and that's why they have come here. And then what happens to their education? So they are giving a chance, second chance, for these students who have dropped out at some point of time, because there's no age barrier when you come. You can be a 60-year-old and still come to a night school and be with an 8th grade. And that's the beauty of the model. So I realized there's so much beauty and so much flexibility in the model, because it's then recognized by the government, and they get a proper certificate, which is a license for them to upskill and get into better jobs. I made up my mind that, okay, this is something very exciting, and I would spend a lot of time on just finding out more about night schools. 2006-7, I got an opportunity to do a actual research on night schools, informal research though, but to an organization, because I'd submitted a paper on night schools and it was fun. It made me very confident about what I was doing, because the findings revealed that intervention is needed, and intervention is needed as soon as possible, because I saw that they were quite in need of support. Although the salaries of the teachers was coming from the government, state government, but they didn't have access to notebooks, textbooks, labs, libraries, so many things, like the midday meal. Government had given midday meal to the day schools, but nothing was there for the night schools. Okay. And evening meals and stuff. So many things came up, and then I just took the opportunity. By that time, before I got into doing the research, I had resigned from the service, because I made up my mind, and I spoke to my father. He felt a little bad about it, but then it was okay, because he said, if you're not happy and you would continue to be not happy doing what you are, might as well just give up. I said, I don't know where the funds are going to come from. I don't know whether it's going to be a success. But I know one thing, that I love this cause, and I know that they are in need, they deserve. And I know somewhere, and because of my spiritualism, I said, me, and the funds will come.
Oh my God. But Nikita, why didn't you see? Normally, when people get a lesser service, they work, they realize this is not what it is. They attempt again to find out whether they can get a higher rank and get into a service of their choice. But that didn't occur to you. You just wanted to not waste another 3 years
No,
studying. But
no, because see, after a particular time, you just want to, because you have already given so much. And I tried, not that I didn't try. All my attempts I tried, although, and it didn't happen. The fact
okay. Okay,
so,
but why did you think of a night school and not maybe intervene when the children are small? Because when you say, okay, we'll come to how Masoom was born as a name for your entire project itself. But just the fact that these people were working people who had the initiative and drive and self motivation to further themselves with education is what motivated you to give them that kind of an intervention that was required, or you saw the need of education bringing in so much more difference that
the
this
need part came later. It was, pehle though, it was only emotional. It touched my heart, and I said they deserve it. So I don't know how. And then the came after I started, while I was doing that informal research. I was interviewing some of the stakeholders, and they said, "Nahi, iska bhi need hai, uska bhi need hai." So to kind of fine tune the program, it helped. So see, I mean, the entire motivation came from the students who I interacted. And of course, later on, then I spoke to the other headmasters and all, but it was mainly, but there is something like this, and I didn't know about it when I was in Bombay. Graduation, my post-graduation, I didn't know that so many schools exist, and so many, and wish I knew about them earlier, and wish I could help them in some way. So it was with that whole thing that, and even today, when I talk to these students, I get a lot of strength, because I realize that they're completely, there's so many challenges that they're facing, and in spite of that, they fight it out, and then they come, and then there is another fight here, because there is so much to learn, understand, which they are not, they're not really at that level, but they are still fighting. And that's the spirit, I think, which just kind of drew me to them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when you gave up your service, it was that you're going to go full time into making sure that night schools have the right intervention. What was your intent? What did you want to do when you gave up service to
Yeah.
help these people?
So the whole intent was let me get full fledged into ensuring that I do justice to the project, because I didn't know anything about NGOs and I didn't know anything about what a proposal is and stuff like that. So I didn't even know that there is something called as budgets that you have to make and you have to submit these budgets and stuff. So then, fortunately for me, Unlimited India, which was also in its first year, the founder kind of got in touch with me because I was presenting about night schools there, and she heard that and she came to me and she said, "Would you be interested in a support that incubation support that we give?" And I said, "Yes, of course, more than happy to be a part because I don't know anything." And it was so beautifully placed for me that I was planning this and they came in to support, and I was also qualified to get the support initially with not a very big number, but that whole thing about how to make your own proposals, how to register your organization, what to do with this, what to do. So all those small things were just taken care of, at that point of time. And so my whole thing was to give back to them, give the best quality education, and didn't know how to do it, but then things started falling in place, and that.
Okay, so there came help from the universe because I love the way you said that since you were spiritually inclined, you knew the universe would put things together. It was just, for me, right here, the purity of intent is the main motivator. And then the universe has ways of putting things and people in the right places at the right time. So tell us about the birth of Masoom. How did the name come about? And how exactly the project took off? Because I really like the name. Is it because you yourself were Masoom at that time?
Yeah, I realized that I've seen even during the childhood, it was a very, very innocent phase of very innocent. My sister, we played and we've not seen any, I don't know, or we were kind of protected from the darker side of life and because my parents were like that, very open and, not bothered about any, so no scheming, nothing like that. And then I just got kind of uh, when I came to know about some night schools, when I met them, the first thing that came in to me was innocence. That they are innocently coming there to just because they would be, if they are very smart, they can do something else. And आजकल the certificates, and at that point of time also it was easy, form 17 karo, ye karo, and there were so many ways. And that time I knew about it, and then I saw them, I said, my God. And then just I was discussing this with my sister, and I said, I find them just kitna masoom and innocent. She said that if you're doing so much, why don't you just कि इसी name को आगे चल के you keep the same name. I mean, why don't you have the same name for your organization? And I said, why not? Why not? So that's how it just came up. And it was just that thought ki, I think the name is appropriate for these students.
And when you set out on the journey, how many did you take many schools, or you started with one school and then word spread? How did you get the starting initial steps on?
So the initial so in the pilot we had taken two schools, and then so based on the research, we were already during the research started working with a couple of schools. So we took the same two schools. We had worked with 5 schools. We took 2 out of them and we started the work on a pilot basis. Fortunately, because of the unlimited connections I got through Edelgive Foundation, and they liked the program very much, and they were the first ones to actually support our admin costs, and the office came in, and the same research students, the research I had young night college students who did the research with me. I had taken them with me because you had to have a group of people, especially youngsters. And I thought that night college students would be the best students to do justice to this project. So they became the first staff of Masoom. And in fact, two out of them are still in Masoom. We were five of us, six of us, sorry, including me. Two of them are still in Masoom, and one is handling finance and one is doing the documentation part. So, so then the first staff of Masoom came from NGO Foundation with support for two schools and everything. Then we had a very small office in Parel where we were just six of us and we did everything. And from two schools now we are in 85 schools. Then it was not looking back at all because Rashmi, to be very honest with you, there has been no formal fundraising since 2008, since we set up. Every year we know we are going to expand this is going to be the budget, but till the end we don't know where the money is going to come from, but the money comes in. I don't know how. So we know now today we are last to last year, because the pandemic, our budgets have gone down to 8 crores, but we were a 10 crore organization, and probably now again we will. But every year we've just kind of said, okay, I think the team feels confident with so many schools, so many interventions, and so much money needed, it'll come. And we've been so lucky with the donors. The donors only have connected us to other donors, and it's been very because non-financial support is what has worked more than the financial support from the donors, because they've sat with me, mentored me how to go about. And even today we are connected, like the Vidya Shah, who's actually was at that point of time the CEO of Edit Foundation, is still on the board of Masoom. So many years, and still continues to give a very big support. And some of the organizations like Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, who came on board, have given so much more than money, just money. It's been just helping me through strategies. How do you formulate your strategies? How do you get and sponsored consultants for me to do the strategy planning and get in people? So many things, even Global Fund for Children. So then, I just realized that there has been we did try to get a lot of fundraising people on board to see if we can multiply and get, but that didn't work for us because they were not, and it's not their fault, it's just that it was needed everywhere to do the final pitch and this, and so somehow till date, of course now we are planning a strategy, and I don't know whether how long it will take to come up, but the journey has been like this, just things falling in place. Oh, now the schools are to begin in June, that's the academic year, and we don't have so much money, but suddenly by the end of the month the money comes in and it's there, to take care. And so somehow it's been like that. And thanks again to my belief in something like God, and belief in the goodness of the people who've been around me, well-wishers who've been with Masoom for so many years, who've just kind of given their time to really help me strategize, given a lot of their connections, networks to me. Now, like Uma, I know her since so long. She just connected me to you. And it's been like this, So I was so happy. I said, wow, what a nice work. And when you said that you want to do this, I said, my God, another chance. The universe is giving me to spread my work.
No, honestly, Nikita, because I feel that if each one pitches in, like you said, nobody works in silos anymore. It's about
Yes.
pitching in your intents together. And when intentions are pure, there is something which works magically in
Works,
the
yes.
universe, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
have to take only one step forward, and then the universe will do the rest for you,
Yes, yes.
connecting the dots beautifully. So,
Yeah.
looking back on your dots, that the pattern that emerged from your grandmother's influences to your dad, and then your services, and then you moved on to start Masoom. You said today you have 85 plus schools, but the journey to reach from two schools that you initially took to 85. What kept you on, Nikita? What was it that you were getting back as a thank you note, a gratitude, whatever? What was your motivation? Because the kids
Yeah.
were self-motivated in the school, all right. But what kept your motivation on to
Yeah.
take this on
So
a bigger level?
yeah, I would come back. I mean, I've never seen so much energy in me while, I was also working earlier, but I used to never feel tired. In the
Okay.
morning, and I was on my own, so it was not that I had to report to somebody and I had to prove something to somebody. The board was very, very nice. They were like a lot of senior people, but they had given me complete independence because it was all research based, and we were doing all the intervention, which was. But that kind of energy that was coming to me from what I was doing was, I mean, it was inexplainable. I can't even explain that. And every time I would interact with the students, I would feel that, oh my God, there's so much more to do because every time I felt that they needed more, and what more. And so just from a school program, which is just to ensure that these students pass the exam, 10th grade exam, it started with that how do you motivate the students to stay on, retain
Hmm. Hmm.
dropouts and dropped out. And so we have a 60-year-old studying with a 18-year-old or a 14-year-old in the 8th grade. And the grandmothers were studying in the same class in the 10th grade with the grandchild, and the grandmother gets 70 and the grandchild gets 50%, and they both are happy. And they've been interviewed and all of that. So that's the beauty. And when you go and see this, you want to do more and you want to spread, because why then? Why Maharashtra? Why only Mumbai? 130 schools in Mumbai. Why only? So, that way it's just kind of given me more and more energy to do more. And so from the school program, just helping them pass the 10th grade, we started with 36%. When we took the schools, they were all on 36% pass percentage of 10th grade. Now they are 100%, of course, because of the pandemic. But before the pandemic, it was 83%, with 20 schools being on 100% results. So with that, we said we will set up a career cell because these students were looking for better job opportunities, skilling opportunities. So then we said, no, let's set up a career cell, because that's where they need scholarship, they need connects to various industries and training programs. Today we have more than 2,000 students who've gone through our skilling program, and almost like 600, 700 who've already kind of been placed in jobs, better jobs. And that includes very few students, long-term students. There are about like 100 students who are doing professional courses like engineering, architecture, and medicine, IT related professional courses. So we see that there is a visible difference in their earnings. Plus, we put in a lot of efforts on their soft skills and stuff like that to ensure that they are also giving back some way or the other. We have so many donations that come to us from our students themselves now, like students coming and giving a check and saying that we want to give back and stuff. So we feel really motivated that, oh, the students are doing this. So many pro bono services from our students who've gone through our video making program and documentation and stuff. They come and they give their services, they volunteer for us. So that has kind of made us do more and more and kind of motivated us. So then from the career cell, we realized that these students, in spite of being in the VMC school premises, don't get access to their computer labs and their science labs. And we have given them labs on wheels. But then, so we came up with the bus idea, Tech on Wheels bus idea, where we have equipped the bus with laptops and also internet connection. And the bus is a classroom. So we take it to their school and the students get access to the, also they don't have to, they are all computer literate, they know. And we also introduce some courses like graphic designing and web design, all that. So they should not feel that we don't, the private school students are better than, or they know. So yeah, so we did that. We started with one bus. Now we have 3 buses, 2 in Mumbai and 1 in Nagpur now. We also have Nagpur. Then we also realized that these this night schools as such is so much relevant now because there are so many out of school adolescents. There's so many adults who come back and complete the 10th standard.
Yeah.
I just want to say that like we had a granny in one of our night school and we asked her, we interviewed her. He at the age of 60, why are you in a school? And she said, मुझे मेरा dream था, मुझे वो certificate देखना था मेरे नाम का, pass certificate. That was her, dream before she would say goodbye to the world. And I said, wow, you're such adults who want to come back. And why not? If there is a platform, then why not create this for other states? So we started evening learning centers. We have about 5 evening learning centers in Gujarat today. We have a MOU with the Gujarat government as well, like we have in Maharashtra. And we have, so we have total 11 centers. We have centers in Pune, Goregaon, which is in Mumbai, and Bhavnagar and Ahmednagar. So that is wherever there are no night schools, we have these platforms where age is not a bar. You would have dropped out after 5th standard and want to now complete your 10th standard. We have mastered over the last so many years since 2008 the art of helping them pass the 10th grade, and that value add, I mean, which we can do to these ELCs. So our academic team has developed the foundation courses, has developed those academic programs. So now we have started that, and we now want to grow and go to other states. And some states have been already calling us, like Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. But we are, our model is such that we will not go unless we sign up with the government there, because we also want to see government involvement in the work that we do, and we want them to give the infrastructure. We want them to do a lot of things, so that joint efforts and not just Masoom starting some private classes and ensuring that they pass or do. So that is not how we go. And we also within Masoom, we need to consolidate with certain things we felt. And so after 1 year, we would be ready to actually start in other places as well. But right now, Gujarat and Maharashtra.
Okay. So primarily, Masoom is a night school venture and evening school platform that you spoke about. And when you're talking about Masoom going to different states and interacting with other children, most of the schools are day schools. So, and who are these we that you're talking about? Do you have a team of teachers in each of them? How does the intervention happen? With who do you coordinate to get them for the night schools? How exactly does the model of Masoom work?
So we have a staff of 60 people. One
60.
60, yeah, 60
Yeah.
across all locations. And so every 5 school has one program manager, and then we have a program head taking care of at least 3 to 4 program managers, and then they report to one senior person. How the program is, the night school program. In the evening learning center, we have a center head who takes care, who's also a headmaster that particular center. And then we have 3 teachers who take care. And we've also kind of given that flexibility in the ELC for NIOS, which is starting very soon in Gujarat, National Open School, for those who want very light curriculum and want grade, but with a light curriculum. In every the night school program runs like that. Career cell has a different unit completely, because you need specialized people there. So there we have counselors, career cell counselors, and we have people who work in the skilling field. Within the academic part, as in like within the NST night school program, we also have an academic team which is of teachers who there are about 4 of them, and they have different specializations: math, science, English, and they kind of are the main ones to take care of the entire review of the curriculum, everything that in Masoom, which is right from the foundation course to the 80% material, and as in like all the material that goes into the night schools is kind of monitored by them. To help them, we have some moderators from the SSC. So moderator one who set the papers, and then they do the evaluation of it. So we have select few moderators who've been working with us for so many years. So they are there to customize everything or do training. So we do a lot of teacher trainings, we do headmaster trainings and all of that. So that is the team we have with us. And what is done in other states like Gujarat, we have a small team there, but the main material is, so there is a coordination between the Maharashtra team and the Gujarat academic team. They would give everything in Marathi, but then they would customize it for Gujarati.
Okay, okay. And are there some stories, Nikita, which keep you driven, make you feel that, oh my God, this is where I needed to be, and finally I'm seeing it all happen? Because you set out, I love the intent of giving back. That's how you set out. And you had all the right people coming in to support you at that point of time. Without you going and asking for support, it just fell in place. But are there stories that reaffirm to you that what you set out to do has definitely made a difference, or which give you goosebumps, which tell you that, oh my God, thank you so much, I'm here?
Yeah, so we have a story of. I mean, there are lots of stories, and we have an entire book compiled on it. But what moved me, so we have two students in Masoom. They are the staff now. So one student has been with us for almost like 2009. He came in just after the 10th grade exam because he said, no, you are doing very good work and I want to come back, be with the organization, whatever capacity. So he initially just volunteered and then we took him on. And now today he is one of the program managers. And I've seen that journey and I've seen that passion for the organization. I see that every time there is little bit of this of crisis, he would call and say, I think as a CEO. And so I have several advisors and they are at a very senior level and stuff. And I consider him also as one of my advisors because he's seen the program through. And what touches me is that the love for the entire community of night school students and for the organization, which I've not seen anywhere. So anything middle of the night, I'll see this call and it would be something very that, oh, I mean, as a CEO, you didn't think about it. And why didn't you think about it? And I would be like, wow, touched because I don't think so much. And this little child, I mean, this little student who was just a student and now I've seen his journey and picks up the phone and, is advising, which is very, very, I respect that a lot. Similarly, I think I know about the student Jyoti who is now studying in Nagpur and is completing a physiotherapy. It's her last year. She used to live in a slum, and she actually, she had her mother fell down. She was climbing and she fell down and from in her own house, and then they didn't have enough money to treat her. Although they took her to a government hospital, she was not. There was some problem with the treatment, so she continued to be on the bed. There was some surgery done and all that. Because the mother didn't get the right kind of treatment, this girl became so sensitive. She was all on the verge of dropout. Masoom kind of helped her to complete her 10th grade and all of that. And when she came to the career cell, there's always a counseling session that happens to see why you want to do, like, where you are, what is it that, what kind of support. And she came back to one of the coordinators and said that I've seen my mother suffer and she didn't get the right support. I want to become a physiotherapist because she did that support and I couldn't afford later. I know that she has suffered so much. I want to and do what? So yeah, of course I will have my own practice, but I will ensure that I will support the poor and I will do this free of cost in my service as a physiotherapist free of, and that I think I was quite moved with this story. That somebody and how many so yes, we do it. We have gone through this. I have gone through my personal things. Now I want to do something, but then it will be all about getting money and ensuring that my practice just kind of. Who will want to say that? Yeah, I want to give back because my mother didn't get it because of poverty and because of very And it's amazing to see she's picking up. Even she connected us to some life skill sessions, to some other sessions, and she's grown to a very beautiful human being. And I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
We don't we there are a lot of avenues to make money, and so many skilling programs, so much money pumped into skilling programs that you can easily get the skilling also and get jobs which will give you a lot of money. But getting good human beings is very rare.
Mhm.
Creating these, and I think the pandemic, that's where I think this will come, has taught us a lot, where we don't need students and we don't need very intelligent people now, because they've done enough damage to the entire earth. We need people who will really think through their hearts. We need people who just want to give because they believe in it, and they are good human beings, and that's what I think. And a lot of turnaround has happened, I think, within Masoom because of these small case studies. At that point of time was just okay. We should support her, and she's become a good human being. But the pandemic has kind of strengthened some of our things, which were like, okay, it is there, but now strengthened so much to an extent that we have redesigned some of our programs, and we said that without this, no, we were not going to give the support, which
Mhm.
we would have just given it on a platter. We said, no, they will not get it on a platter now. They will have to do something for the environment. Now they will have to do something back to the organization. So those kind of things have changed now for us.
Wow. I know, I think the pandemic shook the whole world.
Yeah.
Everyone took a step back into a reflective space to see what is it that is really important. And they realize simple things are important, and most of them are free, like time with your family, a plant
Yeah.
around you, everything that gave us happiness was
Yeah.
actually free. I love this idea that you just shared, Nikita, where you spoke about how the entire concept of what Masoom was doing also was completely altered and shifted. And what has your biggest takeaway been from the pandemic? Obviously, it's reflecting on Masoom. So,
Yes, yes, yes. Connect. So personal and Masoom. I just realized that the pandemic made me save a lot of money. I just was, and I was thinking, why was I picking up stuff from outside when I didn't need it? Unnecessary shopping, unnecessary so many. So I just taught me minimalistic living. यार चलो इससे तो काम बनता है. Why was I just like I was into shopping, doing this, that, whatever, and I just realized that why, I mean, this was not needed. And same thing, we applied it in Masoom, and we said, let's cut down on our budgets. If online it's possible, why spend so much money on a venue and get them this be, ye bhi lao, wo bhi, or just so much stress on the planet and so much, क्योंकि उतना resources needed, उतना ये needed, उतना electricity, उतना ये. Just realize those things, and kind of we realized that Joe we would have taken and 30% cut in the budgets, um, uh, just kind of helped us because the funding also had reduced, because the donors didn't have money, and we realized that ये तो ऐसे भी चल जाता है. So then now also when we plan our annual plan हम जब करते हैं, which we are planning now in January, we've already discussing some of the things which will go into the plan. We will not be doing some of the on-site and the offline things which are not needed. We've continued with our online in so many cases, because otherwise उसका rent दो, इसका ये दो, इसका ये दो, इसको the catering का charges दो, ये some of it is not needed at all. And also the traveling, just realize that minimalistic. आप तो आपके पास अगर 4 ड्रेसेस है तो 5th ड्रेस लेना है या नहीं 10 बार सोचो फिर ले लो. अब तो पैंडेमिक में सोच रहे थे ना, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ एनी अदर रीजन, एटलीस्ट की थ्रेट की तो पैंडेमिक हो, आई मीन वो कोरोना हो जाएगा. तो अभी भी सोचो कि व्हाई डू यू नीड इट. यू कैन सेव दैट मनी, मे बी किसी गरीब को दे दो वो पैसा, लिटिल बिट ऑफ इट, और give to something, use that money constructively, which is going to be help, maybe use it towards your own child, or for the education which you would have otherwise borrowed a loan or whatever. So I just realized that that is something, and applied it in the organization, because the learnings was just coming that we can do without a offsite visit. We can do without, we can do without this and so many things, and so we can do without maids. I have taken out. I mean, not of course one or two, but other than that, why do? And I've started questioning that, do you really need? Can I not get up a little early and do a little bit of things? थोड़ा हो जाएगा. जब तक हाथ पैर चल रहे हैं, why not do certain things on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I same thing in the organization. Do you need so many people in terms of ये हम पहले कर रहे थे with so many? Can we not do it? So that whole thing, cultural change in the organization, and that's a huge culture change.
Yeah.
For them to say, okay, bright students classes, do you need BMC premises? Do you need to give rent? No, you don't need. We can do it. And then stop it. अगर करना है तो हम एक कर सकते. Instead of 4, we can do 1, because you still need those connects and you still need those things where otherwise night school teachers don't get access to physical trainings where in-person trainings होते नहीं. Yeah, so then that's where we've skipped. And I think I just feel that the second most thing which came into me was this, which I just mentioned to you, that being human beings. हमने देखा है pandemic में कि more than anything else, people needed people support.
Yeah.
People needed that support. Mentally, we were completely gone. I also had COVID. I mean, my entire family. And I can only think about those people who came to help at that, be it the doctor, be it my cousins who with food or whatever support. That is the thing. I mean, what are we going to carry with us? These are the things. And if our students, if we have captive audience with us, and if we are not able to make them better human beings, then the whole program is wasted. So put in things like, what is going to be our contribution towards environment? What is going to be our contribution towards fellow human beings? Last week we did this first aid. कैसे करना है, emergency में किसी की मदद करनी है. So how, as human beings, Masoom staff underwent the Red Cross first aid training. Full day का training, but now we know how to give CPR, how to give mouth to mouth, कभी देना है, in case of emergency हमें क्या करना है with other human beings, not just now. I said, don't just apply night school का बच्चा है उसका भी मदद करो. Just do it, and that's our contribution to society, and spread it in your family and all that, because हमारे साथ भी होता है emergency, तो किसी के साथ भी हो सकती है. And so pass it on to our students. So that whole thing कि ये neighbor का problem है, मेरा problem नहीं है. COVID has taught us कि ये मेरा problem भी हो सकता है, मेरा problem है. And that's why be equip yourself that good human beings, you need to, there will be occasions when you will yourself need it, and if there are no people like the ones who have helped good beings around, then you will die. Good human beings to make this planet a better place, and with us. So we've started now in our staff meetings. We have 15 minutes dedicated to some activities which is for outside. And I said, imbibe that in your own children. There is life skills and uske special sessions. For so many years, we believe that there should headmasters or teachers or child protection के issues हो, POSCO के issues हो, इसके issues हो. बात करते करते आप उनको दे दो, वो समझ में आएगा. Training हम रखेंगे for a formal structure, but there is never this, कि ये इतने ही सेक्शन में हो जाएगा, तो उतने ही सेशन में वो भूल भी जाएंगे सब कुछ. Correct. Session for the sake of it, and then I'm not applying it. What's the use? All those things have changed because of our pandemic, and suddenly we have become like, कि चलो now is the time or never, because pandemic just hit us, na, we didn't know. बोल के आया था कि मैं आ रहा हूँ, आप equip करो अपने आप को. नहीं आया था ना वैसे तो अभी भी. I said, now if we don't equip, tomorrow something else will come, some other COVID will come, or some other will come, and we will be still thinking कि हाँ, we will prepare ourselves to be better human beings. इसको नहीं होगा.
You're right, Nikita, because I think the basic truth of life, that life is all that is there between two breaths, was very beautifully shown to us by the pandemic. And the fact that you are talking climate change in your school and making it part of your conversations makes it that much more relevant, because the children coming into the night school will start seeing how all of this falls into their everyday life and life uses. So there's so much of beautiful stuff that you're doing. And I know asking you three life lessons would be less because you must have seen so much more of life than most of us have. But if I ask you to sum up three life lessons that you'd like to leave us with, what would they be, Nikita?
This life lesson I would say is that um, don't depend ownership, because there's no angel to come. You can't wait for people to come and change your life. You are the one. And इसीलिए I like to do things, and I tell my daughter also कि अगर आपने सीखा है तो इसको apply करो, नहीं तो it's wasted. Our investment in you is wasted if you're not going to apply it to. So that whole ownership, we wait, most, I mean, that happens, I don't know, for whatever, but no waiting for anybody, just take charge, and things will fall in place. Second is looking inward for strength rather than outward. Looking at people who have brought in, unke circumstances may that has worked, it may not work. What will work, you will only have to figure out. And that is, and the strength that you can draw is from your looking inward. Spiritual things for me has worked so much that I will do anything to talk about it, and because it kind of gives you, has given me the strength to fight out so many battles, and I think I would suggest that instead of looking outside for support, look inward. And the last thing is, human being is इतना unique creature ना, कि उसमें वो दूसरे किसी में नहीं दिया है गॉड ने, लाइक अ क्रो को नहीं है वो कि वो इंटेलिजेंटली जाके कुछ ब्रिंग अबाउट चेंज कर सकता है. तो वो अनलिमिटेड जो पॉसिबिलिटीज है ना, अनलिमिटेड पॉसिबिलिटी वो ह्यूमन बीइंग में दी गई है गॉड ने. एंड वी आर फॉर्चुनेट दैट वी गॉट दिस ह्यूमन लाइफ, एंड देयर सो मच दैट यू कैन डू. इतना जो बैड हो रहा है उसको हम इजिली गुडनेस से नेगेट कर सकते हैं, उसको बाय जस्ट coming together, people like you, Rashmi, who are trying to match the dots. And I just want to congratulate you for the work that you're doing, and continue to do this work, because we need good people to come together to fight that evil which is happening. Then be it terrorism, be it environmental degradation, be it any challenge that we are facing. The SDGs we were thinking कि 2030 में सब कुछ हो जाएगा, किधर है, कुछ भी नहीं है, because till each and every one starts contributing, ये नहीं भी होगा. अभी 2050 करोगे और 2080 करोगे, तब तक पूरा बॉम्बे पानी में पूरा ये हो जाएगा. So my thing is that this goodness which is there is absolutely needed to negate the negative, to bring. So अगर आपको उसको पॉजिटिव में कन्वर्ट करना है तो you are, and there are people but in silos है लोग, and there is so much good work happening, but how do you collaborate, how do you come together? And our efforts, in my personal capacity, I try to connect. अगर उसने कुछ अच्छा किया है उसका ले लो, spread it out, instead of saying I will create, I will have my own name, मैं खुद हूँ, मैं मासूम, मैं bring in that we, and I think we will be able to take care of all those little small COVIDs, or what those microorganisms who are trying to bring in so much evil in this world. Should be able to tackle them. And it's a matter of 10 years, 15 years, agar pure collaboration se agar, and young people have a lot, because unke paas time bhi hai, energy hai. If we are able to bring in right seeds in them right now, with your own personal thing, with your own children and the children that we work with, I don't see any, कलयुग है, लेकिन उसके नेगेटिव्स को नेगेटिव कर सकते हैं, उसको उसमें पॉजिटिव में बदल सकते हैं. And that is what Sri Krishna and all were trying to do. We can help them to do more.
I remember this quote I'd read a very long time back, which said that when I becomes we, illness becomes wellness. That is exactly what we need now, like you said. Let's all shift from I to we, and I think the world will be a far more beautiful place. 2070, carbon free India Well, I think we can do it earlier if our
Yeah,
intent.
why not?
Yeah.
You need people who have a right heart and will do things. But uske saath, agar there is a good balance out with the right things, right components. जैसे हमारी रेसिपी हमारे ग्रैंडमदर्स करते थे, अगर वो
हाँ,
अच्छा है तो उसने कुछ तो बैलेंस किया होगा ना, इसीलिए तो
हाँ,
बातें अच्छी है,
yeah.
इसीलिए वो जो फूड आइटम है वो अच्छा है.
Thank you so much, Nikita. I think people like you are required to bring that difference that we need, and more power to you, girl, for whatever you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It's really been an honor for me to have you, host you, and to spread this beautiful story so full of Masoomiyat, but making sure the Masoom is still intact. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Rashmi, for giving me this opportunity. And may your work also go to different places, and may you be able to fulfill with all your success, all the things that you want to do, all your desires may come true.
Thank you. Thank you. All the very best. Take care. With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.the3rd@gmail.com. That is RASHMI dot THETHIRDEYE@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.